Okay, so let's take a look. Today we're learning how to rationalize the denominator, okay? So just looking at question number 1, you should know right away this is not simplified form because of the square root of 6 at the bottom. You know that you cannot have square roots, you cannot have decimals, you cannot have negatives in the denominator, right? So we need to get rid of that. What do? We already learned this. This is just review. To get rid of the square root of 6 and turn it into a regular 6, we have to multiply it by another square root of 6. But we don't want to change the value of the fraction, so we're going to have to multiply by 1. Just notice that this square root of 6 over square root of 6 is 1, right? And that's a really good thing because it doesn't change the value of the fraction. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and move on with our work. So now we have to multiply like that. Okay, so we're multiplying 2 times 1. If you don't see any number here, that's a 1. So 2 times 1 is 2, and then square root of 5 times 6 on top. They're both inside the square root. Okay, down here at the bottom, we have square root of 6 times 6. Well, look, another opportunity for a box, right? So there you go. Let's continue on. We have 2 square root of 5 times 6 is 30. At the bottom, the 6 came out, which is all nice and dandy, except, remember, 2 and 6 can both be divided by 2. So, your answer is going to be square root of 30 over 3, because 2 divided by. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the question. We're trying to rationalize the denominator with question number 2. But before we do that, we need to take some notes, okay? So over here, the conjugate of square root of 3 plus square root of 2 is square root of 3 minus 2. Just notice that the only difference between these two is that here's a plus and here's a minus, okay? So once you get that, the next thing you have to understand is to rationalize the denominator. So that denominator means bottom stuff here. You need to multiply the denominator by its conjugate, okay? So if we have square root of 7 minus square root of 2, we got to multiply by its conjugate, which is square root of 7 plus square root of 2. Finally, we have this formula over here to make the calculation for the bottom easier. I explained this formula to you in the previous section when we were multiplying radical expression. So let's go ahead and move on with the question. I am rewriting the question here, okay? So to rationalize, we have to multiply by the conjugate. So I have to multiply by square root of 7 plus square root of 2, because you see how over here there's a minus, so that means I have to put a plus here. Now again, we don't want to change the value of anything, so we're going to have to multiply the top and the bottom by the same thing. So that would be like an overall 1. So it's like you're multiplying this whole thing, which is a 1, and so it doesn't change the value of the fraction that you have, but you can still go ahead and rationalize the denominator. So let's go ahead and do that. That equals, we're going to multiply everything on the top and everything on the bottom, okay? So that would be a big fraction bar here, and then 10 times square root of 7 plus square root of 2, okay? I need more space. And at the bottom is going to be square root of 7 minus 2 times square root of 7 plus 2. Square root of 2, that is. Okay, so the top part is easy. It's kind of like same thing here. Divide by 5. So you're going to have 2 square root of 7, and nobody puts over 1, plus 2 square root of 2, nobody puts over 1. And so that is my answer right there. Okay, so now we were done with our lesson. Again, practice questions are in your haiku. Look up rationalizing the denominator. The date will be February 8th, okay? So good luck.